Well, hello there, and welcome to the start of another portrait painting. Yes, I did think of doing a still life painting for the next one, and I was trying out a bunch of different setups, but I really like the look of this one. Initially, I wanted to do a larger painting. By the way, the photo reference is linked in the community section of the YouTube channel. So those of you watching live, and then those of you watching this as a pre-recorded video, feel free to check out the community section of my YouTube channel for the photo reference. So, excuse me. So I think I'm going to paint a larger one of that photo reference, and this will be a study. So I think I'm going to do the larger one off camera, and then do the head and shoulders study on camera. The thing about this photo reference that we're using is that the light is so it's backlit and natural light, meaning the shadows aren't very sharp. So that means it's going to be what I would consider advanced to very complex to advanced in terms of the lighting. The last time we used more of a contrasty type of light, and it was, more, I guess, it was easier to use. This will be a little more complicated, so I'm going to stick with the Umber drawing for the longest time and monochrome for the longest time before getting into any colors. So we definitely won't get into any colors, even though there's color here. We're going to stick with raw umber and maybe a little bit of flake white. So hello everyone, Bruno, Cindy, Anthony, John, SO3, Brian Ross. Brian Ross having trouble with the video. Let me check my internet connection really quick. It seems my internet connection is good. So again, if someone's having trouble, please comment in the chat. Let us know if there's any trouble with the connection. I can thankfully monitor my connection, and I have connection. So hey Cindy, Hollander, what's up? Don Doe. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to just use raw umber. The materials are linked in the description box down below. This is an 11/14-inch panel that was painted over with raw umber and white a long time ago. I painted over an old painting in case you see a little ghost there. So I'm using Gamsol and raw umber. I've run out of turpentine, so I'll be using Gamsol for this until I get more distilled turpentine. Gamsol just has feels like it has a tendency to kind of eat at the paint a little bit. At least that's the feeling that I get from it. And I'm just using a very inexpensive acrylic brush for my drawing. Hey Anthony, oh awesome! You got my favorite brush. Oh yeah, that's awesome. I have my favorite brushes over here. Don't know if I'll get to using them today, but awesome. I hope that you will enjoy those brushes. So I'm going to place the head over here, and I typically want faces to be at least the size of my hand, so maybe like somewhere down there would be where the chin would go. The smaller it is, the more difficult it will be to find errors. So let's move the hairline, not the hairline, the hair up a little bit. So maybe to about there. Very basic little envelope shape. And the thing I really like about this reference is the pink hair. The color of the hair I think is really cool. And she's wearing a Halloween type costume, which by the way, this reference is a copyright free image from Unsplash. The whole image itself is really cool, so I think I'm going to do a larger painting of this on my own, but I'll show you how I do this. If you want to see the larger version of this, I can do it, but the problem is that I'm going to have a different setup, so I'm going to have this set up on my other easel. My other easel, I won't be able to do this camera angle. Instead, it'd be off to an angle, so I think that might be something better to just show on Instagram. Just as a completed picture whenever I get to it. So that's about the silhouette, the outside shape. Hey Franco, thanks for watching from Argentina. Hey Susanna S. Sorry I mispronounced your name. Nawaska, Denisha. Hello. Can you please give some tips on How to make hyper realistic oil paintings. I may not be the best one to ask that because I don't consider my paintings to be hyper realistic, but I can talk about realism. And I'll tell you what, since we're in the beginning and the beginning seems to be like everyone's favorite stage, um, I want to emphasize in particular something that I usually say, but I think it's important to constantly reiterate. The most important thing to realism is abstraction. So you want to keep your shapes simple and abstract. Abstract meaning not literal. So I'm not literally painting, or I'm not literally telling myself like this is the neck, this is the hair, this is the mandible. I don't think that at all. I think about shapes and I relate shapes to one another. So that's what I mean by abstract. And the abstract is incredibly important. This is just a dry bristle brush. The abstract is incredibly important for realism. So your question about hyperrealism, the important thing is to have a solid understanding of the fundamentals, and the abstraction is one of the big fundamentals when it comes to painting. So that's about fits a pretty decent size. And if I miss anyone's comments, which I most likely will, I apologize just because it takes me a while to read the comments, to look at the painting surface and look at the photo reference and then bounce back and forth. But I promise you I'll do my best to get to all of the questions, and feel free to ask me anything while I'm painting. And if I miss a comment or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, just please have patience with me, and we'll definitely get the conversation going. How about that? And I hope everyone's having a great day. My day's been pretty good, just doing online work for my students, figuring out different courses. We finally started, my online students, we finally started the practical figure drawing. That video has to be uploaded publicly for the rest of the online students. By the time this stream ends, I'll have that ready. It was streamed this morning, so live stream tier students, you have seen it already this morning, or potentially you've seen it. So let me go ahead. I'm going to turn my eyes back to the computer. I'm pretty sure I've missed a bunch of comments. I will start with the most recent one that's on my screen here. Hello, Cindy. So Cindy Hollander, could this be done in a similar manner with acrylics, the way you I'm doing here? You can do this something similar with acrylics. Just know that acrylics, of course, they dry very quickly, and you want to tone your surface not with oil paint. I guess that's obvious, but you want to have your surface toned with acrylic. And with acrylic, I recommend to draw something linear first, because again, the nice thing about this is with oil paint is I can easily erase. And it's not as easy once it's dry with acrylic, but there's certain advantages that acrylic has. So you can definitely do this kind of thing with acrylic. It would just start with a drawing first, like a pencil drawing or a charcoal drawing. Hey Neeks, is it true white spirit damages the brushes? I think a little bit of everything damages the brushes, but I don't think that it's particularly bad for brushes. I think that the best thing is probably spike lavender. I always recommend that. Hey Denisha, can you please give some tips? Oh, okay, so I read that one. Hey Robbie, I randomly joined this live stream. Have a nice weekend. Well, thanks for joining. I hope that if you hang out longer with us, I hope you will enjoy the live stream. Hey Susanna from London, Beat from Stockholm. Franco, hello there from Argentina. Bruno from Germany. John SO3 from Colorado. How's everyone doing today? Hey Neeks, when painting a commission, what would you say is the best way to go about payment? Let's see. For example, should I ask for full payment before the painting or a percentage? I always go with about half. To start off with, I would go with about half of the payment down up front, and then the other half upon completion. That's just how I would do business. you know, different artists do it differently, but I think traditionally it's a half. Half is like the down payment, so to speak. A little shape for the eyebrows here, and I want to gauge the distance that I want for the forehead. So there's a lot of things that makes this painting or this scene very difficult. For one, for starters, it's the centered. Centered is the most difficult, I will say. And centered, and the fact that it is natural light. She's under natural light, and you know, the light and shadow is not going to be as obvious. So stay with me, stay tuned if you are interested, because this will definitely be a more intermediate to advanced type of lighting and pose setup, really. And this is a good example of the thirds. I'm going to just automatically go with the thirds because our model seems to fit the type of canon of proportions that she fits the idyllic proportions. Let's just put it this way. So the hairline, I'm going to start from here. Eyebrows is a third. Walk your way down. See here. A third to the bottom of the nose. Walk your way down to the chin. A third. Well, we've got it. I thought I had to move something, but I guess it should be fine with how we've set everything up here. And just a line for the eyes. And yes, I know that one of the eyes is blocked. This eye is blocked. I'm going to paint it as though I see it, or should I say I'm going to draw it as though I see it, and then I'll put it back. Or I'll cover the hair later. And a little shape for where the mouth is going to fit. You start from generic to specific always, whether you're working in the classical approach, which is what we're going to use, or the alla prima approach. Whichever, it doesn't matter. You're working from general to specific. One thing I like to say is you're working from really wrong to less wrong. That's kind of what general to specific is. You can think of it other ways, but I think of it as starting from really wrong to less wrong. In the beginning, you have to give yourself the most leeway, the most patience, because in the beginning, you will make the most mistakes. Everyone does. It's natural. A lot of frustration can happen in the beginning. It's natural. So if you feel frustrated in the beginning of a painting, or the beginning of a painting gives you anxiety or something like that, you're not alone. You're not alone. It's part of the process. So I'll let you know when I turn my eyes over to the computer. But again, please feel free to send all your comments and questions. I promise you I'll do my best to get to as many as I can. And so I'm going to go ahead and quickly turn my head over to the computer right about now. All right, so let's see. Hey, Dark Clown 1560, have you tried Lucas Paint? It's supposed to dry in 2 days. I have had Lucas Titanium White in the past. I don't think I've tried Lucas any other colors. I was actually gifted the Titanium White. I think it was like a Christmas gift or something from a painting group at one point. But other than that, no, I haven't tried it. Okay, so it seems like there's a conversation going on with everyone. I'm trying to see any questions. Hey, Hasna, I have a question. What kind of oil? This is Winsor Newton Raw Umber, and most likely I'll get into Flake White, Williamsburg Flake White. At some point I'll probably get to it, but I don't know. Hey, Marshall, how do you price your paintings? I usually price them based on the size and the amount of time it takes, and I try to keep all the prices somewhat similar. Which, by the way, the painting that we did last time, I wanted it to be ready for sale today. I actually contemplated canceling the stream and then having the stream on Monday, but I just went ahead and did the stream anyway. So the painting that we finished last time will be available for sale. It's not ready at the moment. It's dry, it's touch dry, but I want to give it a little more time before applying the varnish, the Gamboge varnish, which is the one you can use when the painting is touch dry. So just letting you know that that painting from last time will be for sale very soon. And all of the paintings that we do here in the virtual painting sessions will be available. So let's see. I was still looking at the questions. I know I must have missed a lot. Hey, Coastal Waves 360 from England. Okay, so how do I calculate prices? Oh no, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad putting a price on your paintings. You spend a lot of time on your paintings. A lot of hard work goes in the paintings, and sometimes the general public doesn't really get it. But for the most part, everyone that's purchased a painting from me, they get it. They understand that it is, something of that's, it's like a collector item, so to speak. So I usually go by, if not by square inch, then by the amount of time it takes. No details are needed at this point. And I'm going to periodically lift this. I know that it doesn't look so good when I lift it, but remember that this is at a 45 degree. I'm not seeing what you're seeing. So I need to periodically lift this, especially in the beginning, because I need to be able to see this at a 90. I recommend you always work at a 90. I'm not working at a 90 degree angle because I want you to be able to see with the least amount of distortion. So it comes at a cost for me. It makes it much harder for me to draw having it like this. But I want you to be able to see with the least amount of distortion. So I'm doing it for you. Okay, so the outside shape should be about good. Now, let me go ahead and check any more questions that I may have missed. Thanks, Bridget. We just got started. I mean, it's gonna look like a educated mess very soon. Hey, Orlando, any plans to do a live teaching face features individually, like eyes, nose? So I want to clarify that as I've titled these are virtual painting sessions. These are not lessons. They're not intended to be lessons. I fly through the content in these virtual painting sessions. And in my pre-recorded YouTube videos before I was doing live streams, I flew through a lot of things that I explain very thoroughly for my online students. So if anyone's interested in more educational videos, please check out the online classes for that. Links are in the description, and my our moderator, Dondo, does frequently post the link for me. So there we have the link right there. Okay, so now I have to make a decision. So the face is in shadow relative to this. So this is actually going to be lighter than the model's face. So I need to make a decision. I need to either go in and make this lighter, or go in and draw all the intricacies here with either the Umber drawing, which is what I recommend, or to do a transfer drawing, which is what I recommend the most for my online students. I am going to paint as I paint. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with the Williamsburg Flake White now for underpainting. Just know that I'm skipping a bunch of steps relative to what I suggest for my online students. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more of the flake white, and I'm going to start to draw with the values in the face a little bit here. Hey, Marshall. Yeah, I know. It's going to look messed up. So again, everything is going to look completely wonky. Everything's going to look everything's going to look all kinds of screwed up for a long time with the start of a paint, especially a a face that's centered. Like I said, I wanted to do a larger one of this, and I actually had set up the camera and everything to show you how I would do the larger version of this. Well, I guess that's dry. But I decided against it because you wouldn't be able to see the painting with, it'd be distorted with a larger surface. So I think it's just better to do that off camera and then maybe give you some updates on it. So now I'm going in with the Flake white. And no specificity for the features or anything like that. What I want is to establish the basic shapes and soft edges. And again, in this stage, really, this doesn't matter to me. Like, this doesn't matter. What matters is the structure of the face. Having a, so I use kind of a hybrid between alla prima and classical. So I don't use the straight classical approach when I'm painting. I teach using the classical approach because I find that it's the best way for students to learn. But in practice, I don't do that. In practice, I actually go right into either color or I go right into values, as you're seeing here. The nice thing about Flake white is it has this property of which you can use more of it without raising the value too much, therefore allowing you to have a thicker consistency of paint. But you can get by without it. I get a lot of questions about Flake white. You can get by without it. You don't have to use it. If you have titanium white, that'll suffice. Let's see. Hey, LA Joy, I gasped when they did that to her. Yeah, I mean, I just want to prove a point. Forget the details. In the very beginning, forget it. Forget the details. It's going to stress you out. It's going to look awkward. It's going to upset you if in the beginning you try to go in with details too soon. And the thing about details is that we are not used to seeing unfinished faces. That's stuff of Halloween. That's stuff of nightmares. But in reality, like I said, for realism to happen on your painting surface, you need to have a solid understanding of the fundamentals, and in particular with the abstract. So at this point, I don't care about any of the details. What I care is about these superstructures, these large structures. But I admit I'm skipping a lot of stuff because again, the longer careful demonstrations are for the online students. This is how I actually paint. So see this? I am not afraid to go in and put these tones. I don't care what it looks like at this point. I don't care. What I care about is putting something in that has a sense of form that I can work with. Hey Nancy Lee, what size canvas are you using for the portrait painting? This is an 11 by 14 panel. Now again, this is going to look like the stuff of nightmares for quite a long time until eventually the shapes start to subdivide. And because this is a darker value scheme, I'm definitely utilizing the flake white. If I were using titanium white, if I were using this much titanium white, it would have already blasted the values. Yep, it's a panel, 11/14" panel. I'm gonna scroll through, see if which comments I've missed. Hey Cindy, what's your opinion on water mixable oil paints, pros versus cons? The biggest pro with water mixable oil paints is that you can clean them very quickly with soap and water. Also, I mean, add to that, if you're someone that's very sensitive to solvent and things like that, then of course using water mixable is definitely an advantage for you. But in general, if you don't have any health risks or anything like that, or if there are no health concerns, I would just suggest using traditional. Nothing wrong with a water mixable. It's just that it takes a long time to dry, and especially if you're using well, anyway, all of them take forever to dry. So that's really the biggest con, and it's why I personally don't use them. It's because they just take way too long to dry. Hey Barbara, welcome to the stream. Is it possible to use Gamboge gloss over a previously sprayed panel that has Krylon quick dry on it? That's a good question. To be honest, I don't know, because the Krylon is a what are they called? A retouch varnish. So if you were to use a permanent varnish over a retouch varnish, in theory, I think it should be fine. But I don't know. I would definitely remove the retouch varnish. In my opinion, I would just remove the retouch varnish, the Krylon, and then use the Gamboge. I mean, of course, Gamboge is removable as well. It's a really nice varnish to use, but yeah, I would just remove the Krylon. Let's see. So I'm going to scroll through the comments again if I missed anything. Okay, I don't think I missed any. Hey, Coastal Waves 360. Now I can only do traditional, realism, lower quality than a true professional. Oh, I wouldn't say that. But I'm not sure how to price them, especially since it would be pet portraits. You can always look at the competition and you see what the competition is pricing their work at. Of course, like it's like anything. I mean, the art is pricing art is a business. You know, if a potential client is going to look at your paintings and then see that you're pricing it, you know, a certain amount, and then they look at someone else's prices and they decide to go with someone else's because of the price, then that would be an issue. But at the same time, you have to consider that a lot of times it's a name branding thing. So, you know, when you price a painting at a certain price point, if you do change the price, like I had to, just make it known that, hey, I'm adjusting my prices either because sales are not doing well, or, you know, just have some kind of consistency, so that your potential buyers know something is something is either on sale or at the price that it should be, or normally should be. And like I said, this is going to look like a mess. This is going to look like an educated mess. It's going to look like the stuff of nightmares for a long time, until the shapes start to subdivide, or until we start to subdivide the shapes even more. And this is what makes portraiture so difficult, especially for someone just beginning, is being able to see abstract and not get hung up on minutia or any kind of superfluous detail. Let's see. Hey, LA Joy. Oh, thank you. Oh, this is a mess. This is what do they say these days? This is a hot mess. This is a hot mess. You don't want to start timid, if anything. Today, I introduced, for my online students, I introduced practical figure drawing. Again, I still have to, those of you in the $10 tier, I have to go and change some settings on the video and make it available for everyone. But it was streamed this morning, and there students really saw where the looseness comes from, and it comes from those gestures. I won't get into specifics about that here because it would be a different conversation. Hey Cindy, I'd purchase it like it. Love to feel. Oh, well, I mean, if you want to buy it at the stage it is now, certainly. But again, in terms of paintings that are for sale, please check out my Etsy. I haven't adjusted the photo here, so the red still life is now gone. The red still life has been purchased. And I'm currently creating the box for it to ship it. So paintings that are available for sale from me are on my Etsy. The Etsy is linked in the description box down below. But there you're seeing the previous paintings from this series, the virtual painting sessions. And the paintings usually ship within about 1 to 2 weeks. And a nice thing about flake white, especially at this stage, because there's a ton of it, is that once this layer dries, it's going to be a very thick and absorbent surface for the development of the painting. So again, all those paintings are available minus the coffee mug. The coffee mug, Coffee Mug and Friend is what the painting is titled. Now belongs and will be shipped out to its new home very soon. So let's see. What have I missed? Hey, Coastal Waves 360. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Hey, Abdullah, static dull way to initiate the portrait painting layout. One criterion, nothing personal at all. Well, thank you. Thanks, buddy. Hey, Desorian, have you used Gamvar on a Cobra painting? Question mark. I have read that Gamblin doesn't recommend Gamvar on water mixable. That's interesting. I'd be a little suspicious about that because Gamvar as a picture varnish is made for oil paints. Water mixable oil paints are, they are basically the same as traditional oil paints with a modification to the linseed, which allows it to thin with water. So I can't understand why the manufacturers would say not to use regular picture varnish if they're marketing it, or if they're marketing water mixable oil paints as oil paints, just able to thin with water. That's a little concerning. I'd have to do more reading into that. Let's see. Hey Nancy Lee, how can I divide in between nose, mouth, and chin? So I usually go about with the thirds here. So hairline, eyebrow is the third. eyebrow down to bottom of the nose, a third. Bottom of the nose down to the chin is another third. And then you can gauge the distance from the eyebrow down to the eye here. We haven't gotten to that just yet, but you can certainly go from the thirds, the big thirds, into the smaller shapes as we're going to do. And again, yeah, everyone don't get caught up on the internet trolls. The beginning of the paintings in particular, to people that are not accustomed to how painters work, the internet trolls are always going to be on patrol, just speaking their mouths, just because, you know, the less knowledge you have of something, the more you're going to be cynical of it. So again, don't worry about any internet trolls. In the beginning, beginning of portraits are always gonna bring about trolls. So don't worry about it. I in particular have way too much on my plate to worry about trolls. Yeah, no worries. You can ask as many questions as you like. Hey, Cindy. Last question. Again, please feel free to ask as many questions. So let's see. When did you start? I started painting in 2009. That's when I started classical painting. Hey, Helema. Do you like pens and which brand? I actually haven't used pens to draw with. I mean, I've used ballpoint pens to draw in the past, but not recently. And like I said, this is going to look like the stuff of nightmares for some time, so just bear with me here. Hey, Desorian. Oh yeah. Yeah, so if you're living in a place where you can't have access to Flake White, I highly recommend Gamblin's Flake White replacement. From my own experience, but others also suggest Winsor Newton's Mixing White. I in particular haven't really used that. Hey, Mohammed. Hello. I am Suleiman's Sean's son. Hello there. Hey, Shaya. You missed my question above. Sorry about that. Thank you again for writing it, because now I'm actually reading the question. Can I use plywood panels from Home Depot and have them cut down to size? I would then gesso also. Yep, you can. That's usually some type of... well, anyway, so if you look at this one, this is another one that I have to sign and stuff. But if you look at the back, it's basically like the type of wood that you would get from the hardware store. Just make sure that it doesn't have too many like little creases or wrinkles. This has a slight wrinkle over here, but it's not so much where it would affect the painting surface, as you're seeing here. As long as it's smooth and you gesso it properly, then you should be good. So sorry I missed your comment earlier, Shaya. Let me see. Hey, Helema. Can you corb it in camera? I wonder if that's a typo. I'm not sure. I apologize. Ingrid, do you find alkyd oils transparent? Not necessarily. I have alkyd titanium white. I don't find it to be too transparent, but I kind of get where you're coming at with that. It can feel a little more transparent if you're used to using Williamsburg Flake White. Hey Mohammed, we are big fans. Oh, thank you. Even my brothers. I apologize. I'm not gonna do your names justice. I apologize. Honestly, I can't believe you have the confidence to be making paintings live. Oh, thank you. The amount of time I've been creating YouTube videos and the amount of insults that I've had on the internet is like something that I guess most artists don't go through. Because most artists aren't putting their full process on the internet. They're either using a time lapse, so they're only really showing you like the highlights of the painting procedure or whatever. So I've been badgered, I've been attacked, I've all kinds of things. So at this point, I'm kind of used to it. I'm used to all the negativity that I get. And to be frank, I don't really care. I mean, I don't have the time to stress over it. Instead, I'd rather focus on everyone else. So everyone that these videos are helping, I would rather spend more energy on you than internet trolls. So let's see. Hey Mohammed, do you play Fortnite? No, I play really old video games. I have a PlayStation 2, but I play PlayStation 1 games. So in terms of games, I just play Spyro the Dragon. I also have a Nintendo 64, so I play Mario, the original Super Mario, or Mario 64, or whatever it's called. Now, don't get confused and think that I'm going in with trying to draw the eyes. In fact, I'm just putting enough in for the eyes. At this point, like I said, I don't care about the eye being exact. I care about the structure. And the reason I do things like that is to just show you how little I care about the details. The details at this point are useless. And oftentimes when I was teaching in-person classes, I would go and wipe off my students' details. I told them, don't go into details, don't go into details. I see an eyelash, I come over and wipe it off because you don't need it. It's not going to help you this early on. You're constructing something, so you need to think about the superstructures and forget about details. Details can be added on to superstructures. Hey, Susanna. Yeah, I'm not worried about trolls. I just had to mention it because, especially with the start of this one, I knew that the start of this one would definitely encourage some trolls. And since the face is centered, I'm gonna use a T-square. Oh no, which I seem to have misplaced yet again. Never mind, I found it. Now that I have the T-square, I'm gonna use it to help me with the center line. But first, hey Shia, following up on my question from before about plywood panels, how many coats of gesso would be best? I usually use somewhere between 5 and 10. And this is the gesso that I use, which is also linked in the description box down below. Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso. Hey, Halima. What's your favorite shade of blue and green? My favorite green color to use is sap green. My favorite blue is this one, Ultramarine blue. Hey, Mohammed, you got 7 new subscribers. Ooh, awesome. 2 thumbs up to you, Mohammed. Thank you. You got 7 new subscribers. I subscribed along with my 3 brothers, my dad, mom. And oh, thank you so much. That's so kind of you, Mohammed. Thank you. Shout out to all 7 of you. Hey, Halima, what is your favorite shade? Okay, I think I read that one. So favorite green is sap green. Favorite blue, ultramarine blue. Hey, Jenny, Do you let people pay to get their portraits drawn by you? If so, how much? I was doing first. Let me put in the center line here. I was doing commission portraits before the world ended. I prefer to do the at least take the photo references, but I have done some commissions while the world has been shut down, but usually the price is a little bit more, just because it's a little bit of a longer process. So that is the center line of the face. Now I'm going to make sure that I orient everything properly. What's my favorite shade of black? Ivory black. That's my favorite one. So now that I have the center line, I'm going to go in with the caliper. Like I said, when you have a portrait that is centered like this, you want to use these tools and set in stone the basic proportions. So for instance, I'm going to go the extra mile. And to show you just how little I care about the details. Now, usually artists will start with this. I rather have an educated mess down first and then adjust it. And I've just messed up so many portraits by not doing this, especially when the portraits are straightforward like this, that it just doesn't make sense for me at this point not to go the extra mile and do this. Hey Nelson, I drew Goku. Awesome. Which version of Goku? Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Why did this? I can show. Wait, whoa. What? Okay, so I can answer your question. I can answer your question about the ruler. I don't have a favorite ruler, but this one is Tech Tools. Tech Tools. But you can use any kind of ruler or T-square. All right, so let's go ahead and put something in for the tear ducts. So I'm actually using the device itself to scratch into the surface. So there's a tear duct there. Oh, hey, Kathy. Yeah, I will get back to you once the stream ends. So I'm going to use the tool here to scratch in the tear duct there. And now, of course, the eye itself is going to be moved a little bit up. And let's see. Now the nose. See how it's a little too far out there? So now I'm going to move this a little bit over. Just to have a sense of symmetry. And you can use any caliper. You can even just use a paintbrush if you want to, like this, but I find the caliper is the easiest to use. And just using it to scratch into the surface there. Okay, so we're good with symmetry. So now let's just get rid of that. And now we're good to go and draw specifics. And that took what, like 5 minutes, if not less, to quadruple check the symmetry. Hey, Halima, what's the best way to draw hair? I would just use simple shapes of light and dark for hair. Let's see. All right, so again, if I miss any comments, I apologize. Cindy, I self-taught myself to draw faces. Draw daily, practice, practice, practice. Exactly. Practice is definitely a huge thing, but more than just practice alone, I think it's important to have the right kind of teaching, the right guidance as well. You know, if I didn't have the teachers that I had in my early 20s, I don't think I would be as far as I am, even though this is not a good example of how far I've gone. Without the right teachers, I don't think I would have been able to learn as fast. I usually say you can learn everything on your own, self-teaching, but it usually takes longer than when you're studying under someone or when you have a curriculum. And I know I'm going to get the question about likeness soon, and I'll tell you what, I don't even think we're going to brush on likeness. A little play on words there. I don't even think we're going to brush on likeness today. In the beginning, forget about likeness. Don't let it consume you, because it can. Believe me, it can. Instead, focus on relating shapes to one another. Don't even think about it as a portrait. Don't worry about it. Just focus on the big shapes and on the abstract. Hey Ingrid, best size canvas for a beginner. I'd say 11, 14 inches is pretty good. Usually they say don't go any larger than life size. So, a life-size head would probably actually be almost the size of the head that we have here. It's usually just a little bit under life size. Hey, Troy, what grit do people sand between layers? It's up to you. Oftentimes, I'll just sand very lightly. Some artists prefer more smooth. I prefer a kind of medium texture. So now that we have established the symmetry, now we can go and draw in the small shapes. In the beginning, I said that the details were useless, and now we're going to start to add the details. In the beginning, the details were useless because we needed some kind of large structure for everything to fit. Now that we have the large structure for everything to fit, now we can give ourselves the luxury of going into the small shapes. Now, again, for my online classes, I do not move this fast. So let's see, what have I missed? Hey Ingrid, can you use alkyd oils for portraits for the whole process? Yep, you can. You can use alkyd oil paints. Let's see. You are, let's see. You are gone. All right, so let's see. Hey Mohammed, I tried to sketch a room with the desk inside. I couldn't do it. Do you know the best way to sketch straight on paper? I would recommend having the paper at a 90 degree. This is at a 45, which is why I constantly have to do this. So again, now that I'm doing this, I see that this angle, yeah, definitely this angle I'm going to have to adjust. Let's see. Hey, Ron Anderson, two things. I'm waiting. Oh, hey, Donda. Yeah, yeah. I'm not nervous to kick people out of the stream anymore. So I've kicked quite a few people off before already. I was in the beginning when I started streaming, but now, not really. Especially after that rooster painting, after I got in trouble with that rooster painting. As soon as I know someone needs to be booted out, they're gone. No hesitation. Can you paint without medium? Certainly, Artista. Yeah, certainly. Now, if you're going to paint without mediums, you should have maybe no more than 3 layers on your painting. Fat over lean is something that we usually talk about later in the painting process, but fat over lean means basically you want to use more medium, more oil in the later stages of painting. So if you don't want to use medium, then you can just use either like palette knife painting, or just painting alla prima all in one sitting. Let's see. Hey, Coastal Waves 360. What happened to the rooster painting? That is still for sale, by the way. Let me show you here. The rooster is still for sale. Again, the second to the right on the bottom is not for sale anymore because it has already been purchased. But the rooster is still for sale. The rooster, I got in trouble because some commenters were like writing curse words and things, and YouTube caught them before I could, and then I got demonetized for it, and it kind of hurt my channel, kind of unmotivating, really. So that's why I will, if I feel like someone needs to be kicked out, I won't hesitate. I will kick them out. And again, when you're first putting in the features, it's an educated mess. Like, this is going to be the most, the most messed up the portrait is going to look. It's only uphill from here because you got to put everything down in order to relate the shapes. Properly. Because you can't just start with nothing and then it just magically, everything just magically works out. Let's see. Hey, Coastal Waves. They just being curious. Okay, no problem there. Yeah. I'm not gonna replicate what happened with the rooster painting. Hey, I can't read your username. Apologize. Can you make a line painting in the style of Alberto? I don't think I know this artist. I apologize. Hey, Mohammed, have you ever used fountain pens? No. Helium, have I ever used watercolor brushes? Yep, this is a watercolor brush. I use acrylic and watercolor brushes for oil painting. And let me go ahead and quickly now cover the rest of the eye here. Like I said, I painted all of this in here, knowing that I was going to go over it. So now we're going over it. Hey, Cindy. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so if anyone likes this stream, please leave a like. Hey, Dondo. Oh, no worries about the what happened with the rooster painting incident. So yeah, let me know everyone if you're liking the streams. I've recently received a bunch of hate mail. You know how I put my Gmail for those of you that wanted free sample lessons. I ended up getting a bunch of hate mail. So if you really don't like these live streams, you can let me know in a more peaceful way. But in any case, it seems to be the general consensus is that everyone likes these virtual painting sessions. Hey, Coastal Waves 360. I'm glad you like it. Hey, Mohammed. Let's reach 1,000,000 likes. Yay! Maybe one day, if I'm lucky, I'll get 1,000,000 likes. But what's more important to me than 1,000,000 likes is that that these videos help everyone and that I can continue to grow my online class community. Let's face it, YouTube, like anything, has its limits. At some point, YouTube will be gone. I know it's not a nice thing to say, but it'll happen. At some point, YouTube will be replaced by something. And what I want is for my online class community to grow. And, even if YouTube goes away at some point, we'll still have our online class community going strong. But I don't see YouTube going away for the longest time, if you ask me. So clearly either her eye needs to get bigger or her eyebrow needs to move up. I think her down. Her eyebrow has to move down slightly. Hey, Ingrid, what about Zoom? Yeah, I've looked into the Zoom, but I think they limit the amount of time. I usually like to have these a little bit longer. Hey, Kathy. Oh, I'm glad you like the live streams. But yeah, Kathy, as you witnessed early this morning, the whole tone, like everything about these virtual painting sessions is way different than the online classes. The online classes are, especially for those in the live stream tier, the $20 a month tier, they get to watch the lessons live as they're created. And then, of course, $10 is the online classes themselves, which allows you to watch all of the pre-recorded footage from each lesson. But the lessons themselves are very different, very step-by-step. I'm hardly explaining because there's just too much going on here to be able to explain everything, which is why I slow it down for the online classes. Yep, no problem, Dondo. Hey, Ingrid, what is lesson 4? Lesson 4 is actually going to be another portrait painting, but with a variation in the skin tone. So a lot of suggestions were to have different skin complexions. So that's lesson 4 is going to be about different skin complexions. And then, of course, I just introduced practical figure drawing. I'm a little bit behind on that, though. As soon as this ends, I have to go and make sure that today's lesson is up to date for the online classes. Ingrid, master's portraits will be nice. Yeah, I think from this point on, I'm probably gonna be using the uh, Google Arts and Culture for the um, practical figure drawing lessons for the online classes, Ingrid. So the master the images from the old masters will be back for the practical figure drawings. I think hey Mohammed, I think the hair in the picture got in the way on the right side. It's a little bit, but I actually kind of like the hair going over her eyes. But I know what you mean. It is blocking a little bit. Now clearly I'm overdoing these planes, but I'm using this to help me draw. So, something that a lot of artists are, I haven't received this question a lot, but um, oftentimes when you are making a mark, when you're putting a mark down, it's in the direction towards the correct mark. So you can put in maybe like 50 or 60 brush strokes in order to find the right value, the right color, but it doesn't start correct. It's a building process. Let's see. Hey, Ron Anderson, can we use water? Let's see, water paint undercoat to treat the boards or canvas. Would this be better and cheaper than painter's gesso? I would stick with. To be honest, this is my most recommended gesso. It's not that expensive. Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso. This has just been like a staple for me for years. My first teacher actually was the one that recommended that gesso to me, and I've been using it, ever since. But you can start with the water. Like you can start with acrylic, but I recommend the Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso. Hey, Kathy. Let's see. I enjoyed the introduction to figure drawing today. I worked along with you in each of the examples. Awesome. I'm glad that you liked the introduction to practical figure drawing. It's been a long time coming. Figure drawing in general for me, being able to teach it, because there's so much for me to teach, but I just hadn't figured out a way to format it. It took me forever to format it, but I finally figured out a way to format it. So I'm excited to have the figure drawing courses in the online lessons now. Let's see. Hey, JD, this is going to be a great painting. Oh, thank you. The likeness is already showing. Really? I'm a little skeptical of that, but I mean, if you say so, sure. Do you plan on giving it the same background, or do you plan on making your... I plan on adjusting the background a little bit, but I do want to put the landscape colors in the background. I do want to do that. Hey, Doreen, these sessions are great. Oh, thank you. Those who disagree probably don't have an appreciation for the benefits this offers. Oh, thank you. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. All right. So now I'm going to be adjusting the bottom of the lower lip. So that is the... Actually, before I even do that, I'm going to sit back really quickly. Yeah, so as always, I have to move the lip up. For some reason, I always make the philtrum too long. A little tip for everyone. I would recommend doing a lot of self-portraits and finding out what is unique about your likeness. I have a really long philtrum. Me myself, I have a really long philtrum. So my tendency is to impose that. So, you know, for instance, my nose is like really wide. So maybe I'm making the nose too wide and the philtrum too long. So just be aware of your own likeness and not accidentally replicating your own likeness. I think a little bit taller and then I'll move the lips. Sometimes it's easier to just go in and with a dry brush and just move it up. But I'm very careful with the edges there. I don't want to lose the edges because then symmetry might be an issue again. And of course, with that adjustment, the whole bottom is going to have to be adjusted. Clearly, this is definitely a push and pull. Which is why, so everyone that watched the lesson this morning and the live streamed here of the online classes, that's why this is why I recommend charcoal, learning charcoal, because oil paint handles very similar to charcoal. All right, let's go to the comments. Let's see. Hey, Kathy, what happened here? Hey, Hardjot, what happened, buddy? Yeah, Hardjot's one of my friends from before the world shut down. Hey, Hardjot, the right eye is a little too close. Possibly. I used a caliper, so let me check. Well, the center line is gone, but... Yeah, Hardjot, no worries. Yeah, Donald, don't kick out Hardjot. He's good. He's good. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Hardjot. Let me explain what happened. So we had a troll Hardjot a little bit earlier, which I kicked out. So I think at this point, just you know, it's okay to point out the differences, everyone. It's just that when you see someone that's attacking me, like Hardjot's not attacking me. We're homies. Like he's my friend, so he's not attacking me. There's a difference between someone attacking me and then just making a suggestion. Hardjot was just making a suggestion. Yeah, don't worry, Kathy. Hardjot's my friend. We talk about anime stuff and things all the time. So that was just a little miscommunication there. Hey John, SO3. I'll probably find out as the stream goes on, but are you going to move on to color on top of this while it's wet or let it dry? I'm gonna let it dry, definitely. So this should be ready to work on Monday. So I'm gonna definitely let this dry before I get into color. Yeah, no worries, Hardjot. Hey, Kathy. Oh, yeah, I didn't know he wrote that. Yeah, Hardjot, just be careful with what you write, because the YouTube is a little bit Gets in trouble here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't write that one. Hard shot. I'm gonna have to remove that one. Sorry, hard shot, for that rough introduction. um, hey, Kathy. Oh, I understand. Yeah, hard shot. No worries. No hard feelings there, buddy. Man, I tell you, I got some of the meanest emails. It was hilarious. After I put my email for the free lessons. The free sample lessons, obviously, not like completely free lessons. Where was I? Again with the mouth. I'm going to go back to the mouth. Hey, Anthony, my wife wants to know why I keep saying, oh, it's just a joke, like before the world ended. I don't mean before the world ends. I meant before all the shutdowns. So Harjot was my painting friend before the shutdowns happened. I mean, we still talk on Instagram and stuff. Although I'm kind of rarely on Instagram these days, but. Yeah, no worries, Harjot. It's just, yeah, we have to be careful with with any of the kind of terminology. Hey Pablo, what's your real name if it's not a secret? It's my Yupari is my last name. My first name is a little complicated. I'll type it out for you. It's easier to just type out. My name was chosen out of a name book. Clearly, A, D, and E are the first letters. My name was chosen out of a name book, and I never really appreciated that from my parents, so I always went by my last name. All right, no worries, Hardjot. Hard feelings, buddy. I hope you do well on your finals. It's final exam time already? Huh. I guess so. We are approaching winter-ish. Hey, Pablo. Yeah, that is a weird name. I can tell you a kind of sad story of why that is. I don't know if you're ready for it, but I was very, very premature. Let's put it this way. So I don't think my parents had a name for me after I left the hospital. They needed a name, so they chose a name out of a book. So let's just put it that way. Hey, Hardjot, midterms got you. Man, I remember those days. I remember those midterm days. Hey, Troy. Let me see if I can answer your question. Is the grisaille just to help the artist place values appropriately, or does it actually change the look of the final layer? So great question, Troy. I'm glad I scrolled through and saw that message. The grisaille is the continuation of the drawing. So a lot of times artists will actually skip the grisaille and just go into color. And that's fine. But the grisaille, the main purpose of the grisaille is to make the drawing stronger. I think 9 out of 10, any classical artist you ask will say that the grisaille is mainly for to strengthen the drawing, and that it does affect the way the painting looks when it's finished, in terms of leaving some of the underpainting to show through, or you can just cover over it completely. That's up to the artist. But great question, Troy. And I apologize to everyone who has sent a message, but I missed, because I'm trying to keep up with the questions. Hey, Coastal Waves 360. I meant to be doing my assignments. I have 5 to be done this week. Oh, wow. I still have deadlines, too. Hey, Cupcake Angel 365. Oh, yeah. My first name is a German name. That's correct. It's noble, bright, or noble, shining. Awesome. So that means I'm noble. Hey, Cupcake Angel 365. I'm trying to figure out where your last message was. Hey, Pablo, I don't believe in sad stories. True, true. Hey, Sebastian. Oh, thank you. Oh, yes, that's true. And yeah, my name is my first name has always been complicated. I have family members to this day that still get my first name wrong. That's why I go by my last name. All right, so clearly I've got this mandible wrong. All right, let me see. So a little fun fact. So I oftentimes will look at the screen that you're looking at to correct my drawing. Okay, so that's a little better. I'm just going to flatten all of this out. Like I said, the face, straightforward portraits are the most difficult. It doesn't get any more difficult than this, especially with the lighting being the way it is. I'm mainly using the underpainting to help me draw. And yes, I know the mouth is a little off. So as much as we can, let's try to keep the conversation about art. I'm going to keep my eyes a little bit focused away from the messages, so I'll let you know when my eyes are back on the messages. But again, just feel free to ask me anything art related. So now I'm entering the stage where I've pretty much put in, I usually say about 80 things. I have about 80 shapes. Well, obviously, I'm exaggerating. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less. I can't know exactly how many shapes I have, but I put in a finite number of shapes, a limited but finite number of shapes. And now the objective is to reason with that limited finite number of shapes until the shapes are reminiscent of the beauty and the elegance that we are observing in nature. Of course, I'm pretending that I'm working from a live model. in the sense that I don't have the photo reference like right next to the painting. I have the photo reference off in an angle, just like you know, a model stand would be. And online class students, you can definitely paint along with me with this one. But with this one, I highly, highly, highly suggest the transfer drawing process from Project 2. I always recommend that procedure because this is for speed. But of course, the plan is to be able to draw with the same amount of specificity that I would with a transfer drawing. Okay, at the moment my eyes are still not focused on the questions or the comments, but again, I will get to the comments and the questions. It's just right now I need to have a lot of focus. This is as difficult as it gets. This is the hardest part, I think, the hardest stage in the painting process. Not the rendering, not the finishing, none of that stuff. This is the hardest part. And I'm not ignoring you in case you're wondering why I haven't responded to the messages. There's just a lot that needs to be done here, and I know that I won't be able to get to this if I'm multitasking a little too much. But in the next stream, Monday stream, I'll definitely be looking at the questions even more. And then the one after that will be just like last time, where we're just, you know, putting in the finesse, the finishing stuff. And then I'll have the most leeway to look at the questions. So again, please feel free to ask anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll through the messages and select the art-related ones. Looks like I need to go to the store soon, actually. My drawing brushes are finally starting to die. And I've been using the same drawing brushes for a long time. And they cost me less than $10. Again, I just got these brushes from Michael's. And I usually just go use the 40% off, or I guess now it's 20% off all items, but I use the discount on like everything that I can. So what I'm doing is I'm using mass to adjust the shapes. I'm doing the same thing that I would be doing, looking for the same stuff that I would be looking for if I were just using lines. But I'm using mass, as you see here, how I can literally push this mass up. I'm using mass to steer the shapes towards more specificity. As I said, I have a limited but finite number of shapes. Obviously, limited and finite are, that's a oxymoron, but I have a very small amount of information here that I'm going to be adjusting. I guess because you can't have something limited and not finite, so whoops. Okay, so now that I've adjusted the chin a little bit, now I'm gonna actually look at the questions. I'm gonna scroll through the questions and comments and select the ones that pertain to art and talk about those first, and then I'll address the other ones at a constant rate. It's still an educated mess at this point, but all right, let's see. Hey, or R. I'm just joining this group. Well, welcome to the group. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the messages for a while. Did you use a specific term for the underpainting? What is the color of the brown that you're using? Oh, thank you. Specific term for this is grisaille, because it's a monochromatic, and grisaille, I believe it's French, just French for gray. So just monochromatic grisaille is the term for this. And I'm using raw umber and flake white. Raw umber, Winsor Newton, Williamsburg flake white, and the description box has the links to the specific materials. Yep, no problem. Let's see. Hey Sebastian, what is the difference between alla prima and wet on wet technique? I hear it a lot, and why one could be used more than the other? Thank you for that question. I have combined the two. I'm using alla prima to start a classical approach. So alla prima means wet on wet. Alla prima, just the terminology, means alla primera, at first. Misnomer usually means, the misnomer is that it has to be done all at once. It doesn't. Alla prima and wet on wet, they're basically the same terminology for painting wet paint onto wet paint, or also you can refer to it as direct painting. Hey Harjat, what is the difference between Impressionism and alla prima? I don't think there's a difference really, because you can have an Impressionist painting that's painted classical and a classical painting that's painted alla prima. But typically Impressionism is done with alla prima. I'm doing the opposite. I'm using alla prima to go towards the classical route. Hey Regina, I'll take care. If I missed any of your comments, I will scroll through and answer as many as I can. I think hey Ingrid, I think your time is limited, so art questions only might be best. My time is not that limited. I can still be here for more than an hour, so. Yes, I can't just limit it to only art questions, because then I wouldn't, I wouldn't get the start done with here. Hey Harja, don't put too much pressure, or just paint. Yep, thank you. Hey Cindy, I adore drawing faces, but I'm scared to death of painting. Makes no sense. But I want to learn so badly, just frustrating. Well, again, please check out the online classes if you like what we're doing here. But typically, portrait does have the awkward stage associated with it, which makes it very difficult to do because we're so fine-tuned and programmed to look at finished looking faces, obviously photographs, all the time, every second of every day. We see images of faces, which is what makes it so difficult to see an unfinished face. And the way that this stream goes is I'm painting, I'm talking, just like I was with the previous recorded videos, but I'm taking breaks from now and then to answer the viewers' questions. For those of you watching this as a pre-recorded video, again, you can read the questions there, and you can also hear me responding to some of the questions that you may also have yourself to ask. Hey, Harjot. Well, yeah, definitely. Once classes and things start to open up, the school where I teach at is considering reopening in the spring, but we'll see. Hey, Pablo, do you think a person can be really talented for art but not like doing it, even though um, they are very good at it? I'm a little skeptical about that because if someone is very proficient at something, it usually means that they spend a lot of effort towards doing it. If they are so proficient that it's effortless for them, I kind of find it weird that they wouldn't enjoy doing it. I don't know. That's a good one. I'm not sure. I would suggest I don't think that's a possibility because to be able to do something proficiently, I think that you should have at least some kind of interest in it. Hey, Regina. Hello there. Thanks for watching from Mexico. I think you wrote earlier that you had to leave, but just saying hi. Hey, Ingrid Carlson, do you have a list of paint colors? I do have a separate video for the online classes talking about the specific materials, but also in the description box of this video, I have the paints that I use linked down there. Hey Sebastian, I'm new to painting. Is this technique called alla prima? It is, and if I were to leave it be, then it would be alla prima, but I'm going to let this dry and then work over it. It doesn't mean I'm done right now. I'm going to return to the painting very soon, but I'm working out the underpainting alla prima, so in that sense, I'm kind of, it's a mix between classical and alla prima. All right, I think I'm caught up with most of the art-related questions. Let's see. Coastal Waves 360, there would be a prenatal figure forcing them to... oh, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if that question pertains to me. All right, so now my attention is going to be back towards the painting. So again, feel free to ask me anything. Just know that my attention is now back to the painting. And what I'm doing is I'm taking it one step at a time now. Each adjustment, even the angle of the eyebrow itself, is being put into speculation now. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but in the underpainting, I usually work darker. Sorry, darker really? In the underpainting, I usually work lighter. If this were to be a one and done painting, then I would be working dark to light, but I'm going to be working light and then paint dark over it. But you'll see later. It's actually easier to layer darker with oil paint when you're painting, especially wet over dry, than it is to, to do the opposite. And I'm working all throughout, doing little adjustments here and there. All right, so I'm going to turn my attention back towards the questions for a little bit, see if I missed anything. Hey, Coastal Waves 360. Yeah, I'm going to go now to thanks a lot. Oh, I'm glad that you, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hey, Regina. You're going to translate. Oh, thank you. Well, take care, Regina. Okay, I don't think any other messages have come in, so I'm going to return back to the painting. I'm going to stand back, constantly looking for any little adjustments that I can make to the positioning of the features. And I think the positioning is almost there. Obviously, the forehead's going to drop a little bit. I did lower the eyebrows a little. And with the underpainting, you definitely want to have softer values or softer edges than you would think. Just like it's easier to layer darker, it's also easier to layer sharper edges over softer ones. I don't know if the question has come in yet, but a typical question I get with the underpainting process is, if you're going to paint over it, then why create an underpainting? That's the usual, I guess, cynicism or criticism of the underpainting process. And the idea is not to paint over this, but to build onto it. So I'm trying to create a very solid structure that I can paint over top of. All right, I'm going to turn my attention back. Hey, Cindy, learning a lot. Thanks for this. I'll be checking out your classes. Yeah, if you really enjoy what you're seeing here, please check out the online classes. I think we're at about 30 or 31 now lessons in total and climbing. Hey, Troy, out of mobile data. Uh-oh. Take care, Troy. I'll see you again very soon. Hey Kathy, how much solvent do you use on your brush when you do the underpainting? I have to use more, or it's too dry to spread the paint. So Kathy, I think you're referring to your Old Holland Flake White that you have. I since I have something similar, which is the Williamsburg Flake White, I actually let the thickness of the paint. I let the paint be fairly thick. I don't use too much solvent on the brush, Kathy, um, unless I'm trying to cover quickly, like here in the darks. But typically, I don't use too much solvent. And instead, what I'm doing, Kathy, is I'm just switching from light brush to dark brush, and then I have a whole bunch of other light brush and dark brushes here. But again, Kathy, this is way complicated in comparison to especially how Project 4 is building. As you remember with Project 4, I didn't just jump right into values like this. We kept it light, the light and the dark, and working the big shapes. That's definitely the way I would suggest over this. This is more of a economy of means. Hey Kathy, yep. Old Holland Flake White and Rublev French Umber. Let's see. Yeah, definitely. I would, Kathy, I would definitely take advantage of the Old Holland Flake White. Let the paint be thick and very thick and rich in the under layers and of the underpainting, because then you have a very nice surface, absorbent surface to paint over top of, and that's always so fun. Whereas if I was using like if I was using titanium white, the values would look identical. It would look the same, but I wouldn't have that nice thickness to the paint film that I'll get once this layer dries using flake white. Hey Regina, after a while I come to see how the drawing turned out, even if I don't understand. Again, I apologize about the language barrier there, but I hope that you're enjoying the stream or the footage. Hey Kathy, I'm working that way on Project 4, but was behind, so I did my transfer and poster painting. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'm a little behind too with a little bit of everything because actually tomorrow is a big family event for me. So I've been juggling a lot of stuff recently. But of course, the first thing I always check is the Patreon comments and messages. I'm telling you, I'm better at checking my Patreon than I am my own text messages. Hey, Aura R. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you're enjoying this and you like my voice. Thank you. Let's see. Hey, Yoglo. Oh, saludos. Bienvenido here. Yeah, Kathy, I think you know what's going on with me. Yeah, tomorrow's actually the engagement party. And we're just barely getting over the awkward stage in this one. Barely getting over the awkward stage. And tell you what, it really varies, the awkward stage. Oftentimes when you put new information in a portrait, it introduces a new awkward stage because you were used to the way it was looking before. So it always helps to have an open mind with these things. Hey, Harjot. Oh, I'm glad that this is helping you calm down. Your computer just closed and you lost 3 projects. Oh no, that's not good. Yeah, computers, man. Am I adding the candle? I thought about it. There is a candle here, but then the thing is, the candle it'd be hard to tell it's a candle. But what I will probably add is this, the thing that she's wearing here. So Kathy, this is the point where I would actually put, I have put a little solvent. Thin paint tends to stick onto thick paint. So I'm capitalizing on that little trick. Oh wow, your midterms are tomorrow. Uh-oh. I remember those days. Hey, Oscar Domingo. Oh, thank you. Any tips on how to choose the colors for the background? I usually, hey, Hardjot, I don't think I'll add anything spooky to this one in particular. I guess this is more of gonna be more of a serious painting. So background colors. I usually go for contrast. The more contrast, the better. So the background I'm going to make very light to contrast the fact that the face is in the shadows. But I will, I'm painting the face a little bit lighter right now. And then we're going to go in with transparencies after this dries. And then I think I'm going to probably paint this image again a second time, but off camera, and paint the whole scenery. So there's actually more to the picture. I just cropped it. I wanted to film the big picture, but there's just no way to set up the camera and everything without there being distortion. So that will be done off camera. Hey, Ingrid. Oh, yeah. Engagement party tomorrow. So while we are kind of in the middle, I guess, upper middle portion of today's stream, again, I want to, let's all give Dondo a thumbs up. I gave Dondo a thumbs up in the ending last time. I should have given you a thumbs up in the beginning, the middle, and the end. Our moderator Dondo for helping us out, keeping the stream rated G for all audiences. Thanks for showing Dondo the appreciation he deserves. And of course he deserves many more thumbs up. Garcia, how impressive what the colors you use, because I want to paint portraits. You mean monochrome? Thank you. I mean, this is very simple. This is Winsor Newton Raw Umber and Williamsburg Flake White. And again, thanks, Dondo. Whoa. Okay, sorry about that. Hey, Anthony Murray. Pillow is calling you. Well, have a good night. Thanks for joining in. And so, everyone watching, so the plan is to continue this one on Monday around the same time. It's usually 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes, as today, it would have to be 5:30, but usually around that time. Oh, the emojis were for the trolls. I get it. I was like, what? Was there a bunch of sushi knife emojis? Hey, Aura R. I've been previously taking art classes, but nothing like this. A well-known portrait artist used a projector. This is amazing. Oh, thank you. I mean, projector is perfectly fine. I mean, I don't know. It's up to everyone's preference. I mean, I like the challenge of drawing, doing this linear drawing, and doing this with mass. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with using a projector. I mean, as long as you can draw without the projector, I don't think there's a problem with it. I guess it becomes a problem if the projector is like a crutch, like something that you have to rely on. That's the only time where I would see using a projector might be an issue. And then you also are more, I guess, inclined to copying than interpreting. I usually try to interpret visual information. Hey, or yeah, I can. I think it can become a crutch. Yeah. Hi, Eve, K Terry. Oh, thank you. And by the way, this model is dressed up in a Halloween outfit, um, in the photo reference. So I think she has some kind of dark makeup around her eyes. Actually, I know she does. I can kind of tell. But I think it's pretty cool, so I'm just painting it in. Some artists will omit the makeup, but I just put it in there. I once heard of an artist or a teacher. Um, this teacher was doing a demonstration, and he made the model step down from the model stand and remove her makeup. That I wouldn't do, but I heard that happened once at a workshop. Hey Jordan Carr, really enjoy watching you paint. You're very good. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do put a lot of time. Thanks for noticing. Yeah, I do put a lot of time into this. Ingrid Carlson. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your comments there. Yeah, I firmly believe that everything that you see me do is something that I can teach you and something that I know that my students can learn. So I firmly believe that everything that I show my students with enough practice, my students can achieve the same type of the same type of results, and even surpass me. I do believe my students will surpass me. And that's the goal of every teacher, is to have that happen. But of course we learn together. That's what the virtual classroom is about. As my online students, I'm so proud of them. They're doing so well. And remember, if you're interested in joining the online classes, they are $10 a month. Gets you access to all of the virtual classrooms and and all of the lessons. And there's also the option of the $20 a month, which allows you to watch the lessons as they're recorded every morning, every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday morning. So, for instance, this morning I filmed a lesson at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey Jordan, do you learn a lot through teaching? I do. I do learn a lot through teaching. Teaching actually teaches you what you don't know, and then it pushes you to fill in that gap of knowledge, I find. Hey Small Fox 74, how do you define midtone? I define midtone, I'll point at one here, to be a value in the light that is facing the light a little bit less. So in practical terms, it's just a darker value in the light, but not in the shadow. Oh, thanks, Aura R. And again, if you're interested, please check out the link there that we have for the online classes at $10 a month. Hey, Oscar Domingo. Getting a bit late for me here in the UK. I'll watch the rest of the stream tomorrow. Thanks for your excellent work and for sharing your talent with us. Oh, thank you so much for your kind words there. So it's going. We're pushing through the drawing. Yep, or would love you to have you there in the online classes. And the online classes, each project has its own playlist. After each project has 3 or more lessons associated to it, it gets its own playlist that only students can watch. Her look is enchanting. I feel like with the model looking right at you, and then the hair towards the face, and then the color of the hair. It's a very enchanting. I think very Halloween. Which was actually the search that I typed in on Unsplash. I typed in Halloween themed, and I found this image. So she's kind of like staring into your soul, or into my soul a little bit there. Which is cool. I think it's a nice effect to have. So I do add a little bit of solvent. So Kathy, you were asking about the solvent, especially when I want to have a little bit of a sharper edge, like here. Remember that with Alla Prima, thinner paint tends to stick onto thicker paint. So that's how I got that edge. Hey, let me zoom in here. DJ Crane 2B14. What is the biggest portrait painting you have done? I think the biggest portrait painting I've done is probably the Steve or the Explorer. The Explorer that was actually on YouTube. That is on YouTube. It was back when I was doing daily videos. That's about 36 by 48 inches. Don't know what that is in centimeters though. And this is nowhere near that. This is 11 by 14 inches. So I'm going to say that right now is the best time to ask me questions. Um, those of you that have been wanting to ask me questions, it's okay if you don't want to ask me questions. It's fine. Because right now the chat has slowed down a little bit, so I'm able to read the messages as they come in. Let's see. Hey, or R, is this, yep, this is oil paint. But I do have students that are using acrylic paint in my online classes. Sometimes they'll start with acrylic and then they eventually purchase the water mixable oil paints, but you can use acrylics throughout as well. I have one student that's using gouache as well. Hey, G Maze. Hello. Hey, John. SO3. Oh, no need to apologize, buddy. Let's see, I'm just starting out with oils. Have been drawing and doing watercolor for a year or so. I'm just using ivory black and titanium white doing monochrome studies. Suggestions on what paints to add after those? Oh yes, I do have some very good suggestions for you. Since you already have ivory black and the titanium white, I suggest that you get yellow ochre. Yellow ochre. This is yellow ochre deep, Old Holland. You could get any yellow ochre. Winsor, Newton, or Gamboge does just fine as well. And then this is cadmium red vermilion from Williamsburg. You can also just opt for cadmium red or cadmium red light. And believe it or not, just adding these two colors to your palette, John SO3, along with your titanium white and ivory black, can get you really nice skin tones. Now, I always suggest having raw umber as a drawing color and an underpainting color because it dries faster than ivory black, unless you're using like an alkyd. But yeah, just adding yellow ochre and cadmium red will get you started with skin tones. If we're talking portraits, then you can also add in cadmium yellow and then ultramarine blue if you want to do more still life and landscape stuff. Yep, no problem, John SO3. Oh yeah, I read your mind. Suggestions on what to add after those two. I would add a cadmium yellow. This is cadmium yellow. I think it's just cadmium yellow, Winsor Newton, or or ultramarine blue. But for portraits, just those two colors, the cadmium red and the yellow ochre, and you will be good. Now, in the beginning, I said that the details were useless, and because they were in the beginning, now, as we are moving forward, we can now add all of these smaller little nuances onto these big shapes that we've established, and it's much easier to work that way. Just keeping things practical. It's just much easier to work this way. All right, let's see. Hey, someone's saying, sorry if you've already addressed this. Yeah, no need to apologize, everyone. Just feel free to ask anything on your mind. That's art related, of course, and suitable for all audiences. But what sort of space are you working with studio-wise? I used to love working with oil paints in college, but worry about them in my home space. I wouldn't worry too much about it in your home environment, unless you're surrounded, unless you have like your pets around you. I have a separate room for my reptiles. So as long as you have a separate room for your pets, the solvent odor, if that's what you're worried about, shouldn't be a problem. And what I do is I take the oily rags, I just put them in a metal trash can when I'm done painting, and no need to worry about fires or anything. And my space is tiny. I'm in I think that a lot of shoe closets, or a lot of closets and big houses are bigger than the space that I have here. Let's see. Hey, Aura R. This is so inspirational. I quit art for so long because even my teachers were serious addicts. Oh no. Well, I'm glad that this is inspirational for you. Thank you for your kind words. Hey, Hu Tang. Oh, okay. Let's see. Hey, good girl, Williams 1. Do you only work in oils? For the most part, yeah. But I have done a video or two with acrylics. But for the most part, yeah, mainly oil paints. Although when I draw, I use different materials, of course, like charcoal and graphite, and I like to use pastel pencil to draw as well. Hey, David Dowden. Greetings to all from New Orleans. Hello, Upari. What's the difference between ivory black, lamp black, and charcoal black? So ivory black is the standard for most situations because it's a very, think of it as a very neutral dark blue. Lamp black, I honestly wouldn't be able to differentiate the two, except lamp black is, I think it's a little bit more neutral even so than ivory black. Charcoal black, I don't know. I actually haven't used charcoal black. Again, I've used lamp black in the past and didn't really notice the difference. It's just ivory black is like the standard. Hey, Steven. Oh, yep, I'm here. Yeah, Steven, it was quite a show earlier in the stream. It kind of usually is in the beginning of a painting. It was a little wild, but now everything is kind of evened out. I hope everyone's weekend is going well. I have to look at this straight. Remember, the painting is at a 45-degree angle relative to me. And my camera is about 5 feet above me, also at an angle, so that you see the painting with little to no distortion. But the angles are off to me because this is at a 45, so oftentimes I have to move the panel so that I can see the angles. So we should be about good with the angles. Oh yeah, so I had questions about alkyd. I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually going to use that for the background. So I'm going to get up for a second. And I'm back. So I had questions about alkyd and do I use alkyd? And yes, I do. This is Winsor Newton Griffin alkyd. I'm going to use this for the background because I know that if I use a lot of flake white, one, it's going to be very expensive, and two, it may not dry in time. So I'm going to cover the background and also get the smudgy stuff out of the picture. Hey, Good Girl Williams 1. If I was to buy a slow drying medium for acrylics, will it work similar to oils or does it depend on the brand? I don't think it will work similar to the oil paints, but it will help with blending, with softening edges. So if you're used to using acrylics, then from what I've heard, the slow drying mediums help with the blending, but they still will dry much faster than traditional oil paints. So I'm going to use my favorite brush, although I kind of don't want to. Alkyds are a little bit difficult on the brushes, so yeah, I think I'm going to use this one instead. That's a big enough brush. So again, this is alkyd titanium white from Winsor Newton. And this is actually how I toned the the painting, or toned the surface, because I did paint over an old painting, which is one of the nice things about working on panels, is that you can do that without having to worry about the surface cracking too much, because panels are so much more resistant than stretched linens or stretched cotton canvas. But to be practical, you can paint over surfaces with linen or cotton and it would be fine. And again, I've only seen one painting in my entire life, painted during my lifetime, crack. Only one. Hey, Dondo. I don't know what that acronym is for. I'll be back in a bit. See, I'm not that slow. Yeah, no worries. No worries, buddy. So, yep, please feel free to ask me any questions on your mind. That's art related and acceptable to all audiences. And I'm going to flatten out the background for the time being, but I'm also using the time to adjust the shape of the hair and the edges for the hair. And this alkyd is super fast drying. I can already feel the alkyd starting to tack up or tighten up. Hey, test. How to maintain the values in the color after the grisaille. So the grisaille should be the thickest amount of paint, really. So when you add color or build color onto a grisaille, it's usually more transparent. So through the usage of transparencies, you can achieve transparencies without medium even, which is what I'll likely do in the next sitting, simply by not having too much paint and using just a small amount of paint at a time. But you should be able to see the layer of the grisaille underneath, so it's not like we're going to just go opaque over everything after this dries. Let's see. Hey, or the background color is pushing her forward. More dimensional. Awesome. Thank you. So that actually pertains to how to use backgrounds in particular. Remember I was talking about contrast earlier today? Contrast is what I try to go for with the background. So with a backlit scene like this, someone who really loved using backlit natural light is Bouguereau. So I'm most likely, I'm about 100% certain that Bouguereau must have done something similar with his grisailles, probably lighter than need be, and then through transparencies he must have built the colors, which is what we're gonna do. And you know what? Since the comments have now slowed down a little bit, I didn't think I would get to this point, but I can do this now. I usually introduce crowd questions, so for those of you that may be new. So I'm going to ask you, I think those of you that have been watching for a while know what I'm going to write, but please type in your favorite painter of all time. I'm typing in Nelson Shanks. He is my favorite painter of all time currently. Hey Karam, Salim, hello. So again, everyone, now that the comments have really slowed down, please feel free to type your response. Even if you've already answered this question a lot before, I still look forward to hearing your comments, or seeing your comments, reading your comments, and hearing from you. Ooh, hey Chronic, Caravaggio. Hey Karam. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for that. You just made my day. Thank you. So let's see. John SO3 coming in with Rembrandt. Stephen, some of his unfinished work in his book, Bouguereau. Awesome. And Zarko 1900 coming in with Rembrandt. Pokemon, awesome, coming in with Da Vinci. DJ Crane, Andrew Weiss, Christina's World. Okay, I gotta look this one up. Test coming in with Da Vinci. Hey Harjot, I don't think I'm gonna add anything spooky. Maybe I might put a tarantula on her shoulder later on, but I don't know. with the still life and the landscapes hard, I think that's where it's a little bit easier to add the spooky stuff in the background. Hey, Aura R, Salvador Dali. Awesome. Zacho 1900. Also love Porsche. So everyone, please look this one up. The names. So look up the names that everyone's writing. So if you're watching this as a pre-recorded video. Hey, Harjot, we got more than 166 likes. We did? Let me check. Oh, wow. Thanks for everyone. Thanks for leaving a like, everyone. And if you haven't left a like, please feel free to do me a favor and leave a like. Or if you don't like the stream, but you're still hanging out, that's perfectly fine. So like I said, I'm going to keep the background a little flat for now, and then I'm going to paint over it darker and more detailed later. So now I'm really going to push that kind of glow. And I might actually take this and use it in the hair. We want that classical glow in the painting. Hey, Harjot. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks, man. You made my day, too. And Paulden Hamilton, of course. We all love Paulden. Hey, Kathy. Yep, Booger, awesome. Kylan Kuhn. Yep, of course, Kai is awesome. He was actually here one time, Harjot. I was surprised. Kai dropped in. I think it was like last week. Wow, so yeah, this Griffin Alkyd really tightens up quickly. So I'm actually not going to hesitate to use a lot of it now, because it will be dry. Definitely dry by Monday. I'm so glad I didn't use my favorite brush, because it's already starting to tack up. That's really the only downside to Alkyds is it can be pretty difficult on your brush. Yeah, Karen's awesome too. Karen Warshaw. Hey, Nancy Lee. Oh, I'm glad that you like the demonstrations. Hey, Teresa Rose. Was just scrolling on YouTube and found you. Oh, awesome. I'm glad that the video is popping up. Thank you. So yeah, please everyone leave a like if you haven't left a like yet, because I know that it helps with the YouTube. The good old YouTube analytics. So I'm actually going to use this for the hair. And we'll put in these lights for the hair. I really like this, the pink hair. I can't wait to paint it. I almost want to get quinacridone rose, a color I used to have for the hair. You know, I might even do that. Might go to the store and get a color just for the hair, just for her hair. Hey, Harjot. Yeah, Kai was here. He wasn't painting with me, but he was in the comments, writing in the comments last week. This just randomly popped up on my recommendations, but now I'm hooked. Awesome! I'm gonna give you a shout out here. Shout out to you, buddy. Welcome to the live stream. I hope that you're enjoying the live streams. And again, we usually here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, Test. What are the different background thought processes apart from contrast? So apart from contrast, the biggest thing really is the abstract, and it's the most difficult concept, I think, to grasp in the beginning of any painting, and it's a concept that really stays with you throughout, through the rendering, through the through your block-ins. the abstract, learning how not to say, oh, this is hair, but rather this is a shape, a set of shapes that has certain thickness to it, a certain relationship spatially to the other shapes. Just seeing it abstract like that, instead of seeing it as, oh, this is hair. Instead, I'm seeing it as shapes. That's, other than contrast, that is one of the most important things to get out of this, especially for the beginning. Oh yeah, no problem. And again, anyone who is new to the live stream, please feel free to say, hey, I am new, and I will give you a shout out with a loaded paintbrush. Hey, or are the highlights in the hair made a difference? Awesome. Yay, I'm glad it worked. Hey, Phoenix Gaming. Oh, thank you so much for your comment. Echo Bade, how do you keep your camera from getting the wet paint glare? I keep the light sources at about a 45-degree angle on the horizontal axis here, or should I say on the horizontal plane. I try to keep it 45, and on the vertical I try to keep it 45. Hey, Teresa Rose, is oil painting harder or easier than acrylic? I'm just learning, and I think portrait is way above my skill. No, it's not way above your skill level. And again, anyone that is interested in taking their learning further with me, please check out the online classes. I'm going to type out the link for you here. The online classes are $10 a month. Oh, whoops. I misspelled my name. So please check out patreon.com/upariartist. Also, to answer your question, which one is more difficult? I'd say if you ask an oil painter, they're going to say acrylic is more difficult. If you ask an acrylic painter, they're going to say oil painting is more difficult than acrylic. You know, you ask a oil painter, they're going to say acrylic is harder. You ask an acrylic painter, they're going to say oil painting is harder. It all really depends on what you're used to. What I will say is that the fundamentals are universal throughout, no matter what material you're using. The fundamentals are universal. And the fundamentals is what I use and what I teach in my online classes. So you don't have to stick with just oil paints. You can use anything. You can draw with a bunch of cheeseburgers on newspaper if you want to, as long as you keep the fundamentals of light, shadow, proportion, shapes. It doesn't matter what you're using. Do I make a Skillshare? At the moment, I don't have a Skillshare, but the online classes on Patreon are really the best resource, because I'm able to communicate with all of the students very efficiently, and we also have virtual classrooms, and you can send me images each week of your classwork. And a typical question I get for the online classes is, if I'm a complete beginner, can I still join? And the answer is yes. I create drawing templates for my online students. It takes me a little while to create the templates, but I do create templates to help with drawing in particular. Since drawing is the most difficult aspect in all of painting, no matter if it's acrylic or watercolor or oil paint, drawing is the most difficult thing. And that's why I create drawing templates. They are inspired by the bark drawings. Those of you that know what the bark drawings are, I've kind of created my own version of them for each of my projects. Hey, Teresa Rose. Oh, thank you. Hey, Cupcake Angel 365. I truly believe if you can work with acrylic, then you can work with oil. Acrylic dries faster. Thank you for that. DJ Crane 2B14. Do you have a video on how to make a portrait look? Let's see. Make the portrait look more realistic. With the last upload, so when was the last one? Today is Saturday, right? So Wednesday. So on Wednesday, that was the finish of another painting, and that one we took to a more realistic stage than this. And of course, we're gonna take this one to a more degree of realism. But yeah, in general, the realism comes after all of the abstract. But I typically don't paint photorealistic or hyper-realistic. I prefer something that's a little more, I don't know, like closer to 17th century style. Hey John SO3, which cheeseburger brands do you recommend for max transparency? I'd say probably Wendy's. What is it? Wendy's the Whopper, or is that Burger King? I think Burger King has the maximum transparency for Burger King paintings for sure. Hey, are you self-taught? No, I went to Studio Incominati in Philadelphia. I attended that school for a year, and then I studied for several years with an artist by the name Paul Hamilton. So I have been fortunate to have really good teachers, such as John DeMartin, Robin Fry, Stephen Early, Leona Shanks. So I've been very fortunate with my teachers. Honestly, I think it would have taken me, instead of 11 years, I think it would have taken me probably 21 years to get to the point where I'm at if I were only, self-taught. By the way, I'm covering the V on the shirt. That's intentional. Let's see. Hey Kathy, I'm a beginner and I love you prize classes. Oh, thank you. Kathy has made so much progress in the classes. Oh, thanks for that, Kathy. Hey Phoenix Gaming. Well, I got to go. I gotta make a video before continuing thinking about quitting YouTube. Don't quit YouTube, Phoenix Gaming. YouTube is tough. It's definitely it's a very tough thing. But if you enjoy what you're doing, Phoenix Gaming, I think that's most of the battle right there. But feel free to talk with me, Phoenix Gaming. If you are a YouTube creator and you want some advice. Not that I'm not the best one to talk about with YouTube advice, but I can give you advice from my perspective. Let's see. Hey Regina, hello. I was here for hours. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for staying with us. Hey R, do you do commission portraits? If so, how long do they usually take to complete? I haven't done commissions since, I think, I want to say the last commission I did was in May. And that one was how do you say, posthumous or something? It was for a recently deceased. It was of a recently deceased person, unfortunately, for a family. Yeah, I usually like to take my own photo references or work from from life with the client. But commissions usually will take me about 3 weeks for a single person, head down to knees or head down to the hands. Hey Naima. Hello. Hello again, Regina. Your paint mixing palette thing looks like art on its own. Oh, thank you. Hey Phoenix Gaming, I do have a question. Hour. You might not know the answer since you do art. Do you know how to make it so you can see what the YouTuber's playing when you watch it? I do have a question though. You might not know the answer since you do art. Do you know how to make it so you can see what the YouTuber's playing when you watch it? I want to say I have no clue, but I apologize, Phoenix Gaming. I can think really, really hard on that one, but yeah, to be honest, I don't know much about the gaming community, but I can say with YouTube, the best thing that helps with YouTube, so any YouTube creators that want some advice from me, the best thing is, it's going to sound a little weird, but the best thing is don't think about the views. The best thing is don't think about the views. Don't think about, when I have fallen into this trap, I've made videos and titles and crossing my fingers and hoping the viewers would see it. But in the end, if you're being true to yourself, that's the important thing. And, people will inherently want to watch your content if they know that you're being truthful and genuine. People can kind of spot that. I can spot it for sure when I watch other YouTubers. There's a lot of big time YouTubers that I used to watch that I stopped watching because I felt like they were just, clickbaiting too much. And they were obviously doing things for views. And then I tend to watch the creators that are more genuine. Of course, another good resource to look at for YouTube related advice is Casey Neistat. I'm sure you know who Casey Neistat is. Most of us on YouTube know of Casey Neistat. He's a very popular vlogger. Hey, Aura, thank you. Portraits are time consuming. Yes, they are, definitely. Hey, Phoenix Gaming. See you when I'm done recording. I'll be back. I'm going to do a Rocket League video. Well, awesome. Sounds fun. Thanks for tuning in. Now, here's the part where I'll say that there is an error tolerance when it comes to portrait painting. So I tend to agree with Nelson Shanks and a lot of other artists when they say that when they think of portrait as fine art. So you want to think of portrait as fine art and not get caught up in the commercial aspect of it, unless, of course, you want to focus on the commercial aspect. But portrait as fine art means your painting is about the visual experience. It's not so much about trying to have a literal likeness. No one on, what are we going to do with these, right? We're going to post these on Instagram, even though I've been unfortunately neglecting Instagram. But what do we do with our art? We submit it to competitions online. We post it on Instagram, online. We post it to various social medias. No one is going to go on your post on Instagram, and unless they're trolling, no one is going to go on the post, run a facial recognition software and say, hey, your portrait is 15.572% off on the likeness. Or, they're not going to run a software recognition on your painting and say, oh, your likeness wasn't quite there. Think about all the Rembrandts that we've seen, and we don't care that it has the exact likeness to the model. dewy. It's an error tolerance. So you want to be close, obviously, but don't get hung up on the likeness. Hey Haley W, you've just started, question mark, looks like you've gotten a lot done. Oh, thank you. We started, I think, about almost 3 hours ago. So actually, we're almost done with the with this stage of the painting. This is just the beginning of it. But in case you want to watch more, we'll be here on Monday around the same time. I've been neglecting Instagram, to be honest. If I had Insta, I would do the same. Yeah, I don't mean to. It's just that with Instagram, I've been trying not to post unfinished work anymore. That's what I used to do on Instagram, but I found out that that's not the best thing to do, just from a marketing standpoint. So that's why I haven't really been posting. Now that I speak of it, I have like 2 finished paintings that I still haven't posted to Instagram. So I need to get on the Instagram soon. Hey, test. What's the most important thing to communicate in a portrait? That's a very deep question. I want to go with Rembrandt. Rembrandt is known for, he's been quoted as being a, how's he? A true interpreter of the human condition, something like that. I think I butchered it, but I tend to try to go for the humanistic aspects. I want the portrait painting to look like it was created by a human being. I don't want it to be overly mechanical. I don't want it to be, too photographic or anything like that. I just want it to look as though the painting was done through observation, just, having a model there in front of you. At least to me. To other artists, it may be different. Hey, Phoenix Gaming. I'm watching on my laptop now, so I can watch and record. But I have to give you a shout out. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Phoenix Gaming. Phoenix Gaming, you're getting a shout out from me too here. Shout out with the loaded paintbrush to Phoenix Gaming. Hey, Dave B. We did end up getting a lot done. Moving quickly. A lot of it was just trying to get through the awkward stages in the painting process. But now that it's slowing down, again, please feel free to ask me any questions that are, general public safe. Oh, I can't wait to put the color in her hair. That's going to be fun. I tell you what, I had a lot of artist block. A lot of our comments are about how do I get over artist block. I tell you, I almost didn't upload today. I had a lot of artist block. I had no clue what to paint, and I had set up my camera setup differently than this. Not too long before I started filming, I even was starting to type. I can't figure out what to paint today. So it happens. Just letting you know, it's a natural thing. Hey, or art, is art your livelihood? Yep. For the most part, most of it my livelihood comes from teaching, which is why, of course, if anyone's interested in taking online classes with me, please check out my Patreon, and as well as YouTube. although I do want to sell more paintings. So in case you are interested in buying any of my paintings, all of the paintings that I'm creating here in the virtual painting sessions, I will be putting for sale. All of these are for sale and available except for the second one from the right on the bottom. So the one with the red platform, it has been purchased already, but all of the other paintings are available. So in case anyone is interested, here's a close-up of one of my favorite ones, the pumpkin. So this one we painted maybe like 2 weeks ago. I think about 2 weeks ago, and we even added the Dementor flying in the sky. So again, this one is available for purchase in case you are interested. Hey, Alex Knight. My laptop is a little behind. I'll apologize for that, buddy. Alex Knight. I am Phoenix Gaming on my laptop. Oh, okay. Oh, I got you. Okay. I was like, oh yeah, I heard of Phoenix Gaming. Oh yeah. You're like if Bob Ross painted humans. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's one of the best compliments I could possibly get here. So thank you so much. Hey, Lakshmi, hello. All right, let's see. Now, clearly I've made the hair a little bit wider. So I think I'm gonna stick with the true image or the true width of the hair and push this back. And you always want to paint for the next day. So you want to set up your painting surface so you can have a an even stronger painting as you continue to build. So right now I'm thinking of next time I'm not going to want to have to work over a bunch of sharp edges. So I'm taking this time to adjust these edges and to adjust the shape of the hair. So you want to set yourself up for an even more pleasant painting experience for the next sitting. Hey, or our artist block teaching would be awesome. I'm telling you, I had the serious case of artist block earlier today, right before I started filming this. I was going crazy. It was like, I think 4:55, and I still didn't know what I was going to paint, which is why this aired at 5:30, because I was stressed. I was trying to figure out what I would paint. I wanted to paint a still life, but then I realized I was more interested in painting a portrait today. So the artist block is serious. I mean, it happens to everyone. Sometimes the best thing to do is to just paint. So that's what I did today. I wasn't entirely sure about this image, but I just painted, and now I'm gone. I'm done with the artist block. I'm motivated. I enjoy the composition. I'm excited to continue to work on this painting on Monday with everyone. So sometimes the best thing to do to get out of the artist block is to just paint. Just get something and paint. Don't be too picky. Just get something and paint. Hey, Aura, yep, this painting was started about 3 hours and 2 minutes ago. And we will be continuing this on Monday. DJ Crane 2B14, did you post a picture and materials used prior to the live stream? You're new to the channel. Well, shout out to you, DJ Crane 2B14 with the fan brush. Shout out to you. If you go to the, if you scroll down to the description section of this YouTube video, you will find the materials, a materials list, that contains these colors. You will also find links to the online classes. If you enjoy what you're seeing here, please do me a huge favor and check out the online classes at $10 a month. Also, the photo reference, it is posted in the community section of my YouTube channel. The reason I didn't put it in the description is that whenever I post exterior links to the description, it seems to mess with the analytics a little bit. At least that's my theory with YouTube. So I posted it in the comments instead. And this is this image is from a copyright-free source known as Unsplash. And as I was mentioning in the beginning of the stream, this is as difficult as it's going to get with photo references. So the one we did last time, I would recommend as an easier alternative to this one. What makes this so difficult is that the model is facing us. So symmetry is a thing. And then add to that the model is in natural light, outdoor light. Add to that the model is also in shadow for the most part. The background here is in light. So all of that makes this a very difficult image to work with. But I found her stare to be very fun to paint. So I chose it anyway, despite the difficulties. What I suggest you do, especially if you're painting a backlit model like this, is to paint it as if it was front lit first. So see how I emphasized this main light? And I'm going to go over it with glazes and transparencies later on. So I will be able to make it look more like the model is backlit when we introduce color. Yep, or yep, definitely. The important thing is to not be too picky. That's one way to get out of artist block. I'm an artist, but I use alcohol brush marks and fine liners. Oh, that sounds cool. David Dowden. Oh, thank you. Yep, and Dondo is an amazing moderator. Hey, I'm Coach. Hello from Utah. Thanks for joining in. And again, I hope you're enjoying the classes. Which, by the way, if anyone is curious about this is actually, I think, the first virtual painting session where I utilized Alkyd, the Alkyd titanium white in the background and in the hair. So in case anyone's wondering what on earth Alkyd, what Alkyd is, it is spelled Alkyd. It is as it reads here, fast drying oil colors. So this is from Winsor Newton. I used it specifically in the background. So the Alkyd is here, and then the Flake white is over here. So Flake white I used here, and then the Alkyd titanium white I used out there because I painted a little bit thicker in the background than I normally do so that I can raise the lights. And Alkyd dries in 24 hours pretty much, whereas the Flake white might take maybe not that much longer, maybe like 29 hours. Hey, yes, I usually do start my live stream, the public virtual painting session. I usually start around 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, Kathy, when will your live stream portraits be available on Etsy? Thank you for the question. Actually, that's a good question. I'm going to stand up and then bring a painting that's going to be for sale very soon. So this one, let me move this for a second. I'm going to show you a painting that was completed last time. This one will be available on Monday. I wanted to wait a little bit longer with this one. See, I haven't put the Gamboge varnish yet, so I wanted to wait a little bit longer because with Gamboge, again, you can use it when your painting is touch dry. But I will be varnishing this tomorrow in the morning. We'll be varnishing this tomorrow and photographing it, so it will be ready and it will be for sale. So you will see this for sale Monday, for Monday's live stream. I'll update everyone when this one is available for sale. And I also will post the UFO landscape around the same time. So let's put this one back. And it will be the same price as the other ones. So I'll keep the prices consistent. Hey, Angela. Oh, I'm glad you like the advice. Oh, what's up, Alex Knight? Let's see. Oh my god, I just made a random setup that looks so funny. Can I post it and show you? You can email me. I'm gonna type my email. And also, anyone that's on the fence about the online classes and would like a on the fence means if you're not certain if my classes are right for you, please send me an email. So uparitheartist@gmail.com. Let me see if I spelled my name right. Okay, so uparitheartist@gmail.com. So if anyone is interested in the online classes and you don't quite know if they're right for you and you would like a sample, please send me an email to my Gmail and I will send you a sample lesson. I usually send out the ending of project 1. Also, Alex, feel free to send me a picture of your setup to my Gmail. You said the random setup that looks funny. Yeah, feel free to share with me, buddy. All right, so I think we're almost there for today. Despite all the hate mail that I got by posting my Gmail, I still very much enjoy the communication that we all have here. So the last thing I do is just go around the picture with a fan brush. And I usually dry clean the fan brush, so I use just paper towel and just wipe off the excess. This ensures that there's no excessive paint buildup. So please feel free to ask me any questions because we're actually approaching the finale of today. Also, for anyone interested in purchasing the any of the original paintings, they usually ship in about I ship them in about a week to 2 weeks because I have to build a custom box to ship it and the materials that I need to create the custom box. It takes me about a day or so to put everything together. Just letting you know, like when I send out paintings, I don't just put them in a box. I create I call it like a protective shield around the paintings for extra security when they are in transit. So that should be about good. So I'm going to type my usual question here. So any questions, everyone? I'm going to hang out for a little bit. And this should be now ready to let dry. And then Monday, we will continue to work on this. Hey, Alex. I can't do the Gmail. I'm going to try again. Let me see if I spelled everything right. Okay, so yep, seems like my Gmail is correct. All right, so I'm going to hang out a little bit. And it looks like we're at 189 likes at 190. So tell you what, can you do me a favor? I just need 10 more likes to get 200 likes. I've never had 200 likes, I don't think, on a live stream. So if you don't mind, while I'm sitting here and waiting for questions, let's see if we can make it to 200 likes. So what I usually do is clean my brushes, actually. I almost forgot. So I clean my brushes at the end and clean off the palette. So I'll be hanging out for a little bit longer. So consider this our Q&A time. So my attention is now completely over here to the comments. Hey Kathy, you always say to photograph the paintings wet. How do you light your paintings to avoid shadows and glares? Usually at a 45-degree angle. I can do the behind the scenes on that, actually. Kathy, if you're interested. My patrons on Patreon, another thing that you get is a weekly behind the scenes video on Saturdays. So that will be posted on like right after the stream ends. At least the behind the scenes for this week. So yeah, Kathy, about a 45-degree on this direction, 45-degree relative to here, 45-degree relative to up here. Oh, hey, yay, we passed 200 likes. Thank you, everyone. I've never had 200 likes before. I feel special now. Thank you so much. Thanks, M. Kutch, for leaving a like. Test. Please shine some light on reflected light. How does it work? Reflected light, there's very little actually in this image, but there will be some over here. So, reflected light, the best advice I can give is to use a color change rather than a value change. A good one to look at for reflected light is actually the pearl earring, Vermeer's girl with a pearl earring. So usually you don't want anything in the shadow to be as light as anything in the light, because if you make anything in the shadow as light as anything in the light, it's like you're pinching her chin and pulling it out to the light. So instead, what I would suggest is using a color change rather than a value change. Well, thanks everyone for all the likes as well. Let's see. Hey Alex, I should have invited you. I'm not currently on my oh, okay, hold on a second. I'm trying to check out my Gmail. Huh. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my Gmail. But if you want to send a screenshot or a picture of the setup, I don't know what's going on with the Gmail. You're right. Hey Kathy, yes, please, photo lighting behind the scenes. You've got it. So this week's behind the scenes, everyone on Patreon, please remind me to make the topic on how I set up the lighting for this particular setup. Hey, or our Patreon, does the link lead me there? Yep, I'll copy and paste the link for you here. So here's our usual Patreon invitation. So I'm going to post it here. Here we go. So the post is at the bottom of my previous message there. So please check out the Patreon if you don't mind. Hello, Titanium White. Can you make a video where you dress? Let's see. Where I follow a Bob Ross tutorial. I can look into that. Yeah, I can certainly look into that. It's just oftentimes Bob Ross tutorials or paint-alongs are usually kind of satirical, but I would actually want to... I don't know, I got to look into that. That's a good suggestion. I got to look into that. Because I do like Bob Ross. I do like his videos. Definitely Bob Ross and Bill Alexander. Hey, Aura R. Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I'm very honored to have 200 likes. That's a lot for me. Let's see. Okay, I got your image, Alex. Oh, wow. Awesome. Oh, nice. That's clever with all the towels. Nice, that's clever. I like it. Awesome, man. Very clever. Thanks for sending that, Alex. Hey, Steven. Photographers use reflectors to lighten the shadows outdoors or to fill in, to lighten the studios. That's true. I have dark curtains around me, actually, to help to absorb the sound when I'm recording. But it also just helps. I actually use it to block off light because I try to have a singular light source. So the alkyd almost did a number on this brush. Had I not cleaned it within the past 30 minutes, this brush would have been totaled. And I don't have brush insurance, so this brush would definitely be gone. Hey, oh, so you're on your other YouTube. I didn't have my phone, my scaffolding. Do you usually put in arts? Oh, do I usually do portrait? I do different things like so I'll show you the paintings that are for sale at the moment, just for examples on what subject matter we've painted in these virtual painting sessions. So here you see a cat, kitten to the top left, two still lives in the top middle, a rooster, pumpkin patch, distant mountains, and then some more still lives. So I do paint other subject matter other than portrait. So I do like to explore. So I'm going to clean these two brushes now. And I just used the Gamsol. Again, my little container is down here along with the paper towel. So please feel free to ask me anything. If you had a question in your mind and you've been really wanting to ask me, now is the time to do it. But no need to rush. I mean, no need to feel stressed. I'll be here on Monday. And if not, I'll be here on Wednesday. It all depends on life and things. Hey, Steven. Black is used to absorb light. Look at the Bob Ross setup. It's a good example of how to control light. I actually stole that idea from Bob Ross. The dark curtains. That's where I got that idea from, Bob Ross. And then I realized that the curtains also help with the sound. So definitely, I took that idea from Bob Ross. Of course, I'm going to save this little amount of raw umber. And I'm going to save this alkyd titanium white, even though it'll be dry tomorrow. Yeah, Bob Ross is awesome. All right, Alex of Phoenix Gaming. Thanks for joining in. Oh, thank you. So this is one of the nice things about glass palettes. It's super easy to clean. And I'm just going to mix this all into one little gray puddle. I may use it, I may not use it. And I usually just leave the paints on the glass palette, because the only days I really don't paint are Sundays and Thursdays. Those are usually the days that I'm doing other things. But I'm painting pretty much every day other than Sunday and Thursday. I'll get the razor. Let's see. Hey, Kathy, where/how do you save paint? So that's a good question. So if I'm going to be away for more than a day or two, you can put your paint in a Tupperware container and then put the Tupperware container in the refrigerator or the freezer. That's one way to save the paint. I don't know how that would work though with the if anyone has water mixable, because as you know, there will be condensation, so that may thin out your paints. That wouldn't happen so much with traditionals, but that would happen with water mixables. But to answer your question, Kathy, a Tupperware container and then in the freezer or the refrigerator. Ishaya, the model in the photo reference looks like her chin is tilted down and yours looks like it's facing straight at the viewer. No, I don't think that was intentional. That's probably something I'm going to have to fix or adjust next time. Oh, I see it. This halftone is too flat at the moment. So when I go in with color next time, this is going to be an area that I'm going to address. There should be a halftone there that's missing. So I'll definitely do that with the color. Hey, or R, this YouTube video will be available even when I'm not live. Yep, it will. Oh, thank you. Yep, this will be available. Once the stream is up, YouTube will do its thing and have this available as a pre-recorded video. Hey, DJ Crane, 2B14. I put thin plexiglass over my wooden palette. Well, that's clever. That definitely seals off the air. That's good. That's clever. Hey, Nancy Lee, can I send the painting one of your projects that wasn't finished? Yeah, you can send tonight before 11:59 p.m. So remember, Nancy, the virtual painting sessions, the online class, the virtual classroom, I got confused. The virtual classroom airs on Tuesday evening, so theoretically Monday night would be the latest. You can still send images, Nancy. Hey, Steven, I put all of my paint onto a used canvas, which is on the wall next to my easel. After 2 years of doing this, it looks kind of freaky, but in a cool way. Oh, that's the one way to make a painting there. That's awesome. Hey, Kathy, I've moved from Cobra to the Williamsburg and Rublev Spike Lavender. Now that's definitely an awesome setup that Kathy has there. Hey, or R, do you put a lid over the palette so it won't dry? Actually, no, I leave it. Some of this has dried. So, whoops, that wasn't dry, but some of it has dried, but for the most part, I don't lose that much paint because I do paint almost every day. Oh, thank you. I do tend to get a lot of dislikes, but that's okay. Probably, yeah, probably the ones that I've blocked. Probably. All right, now I'm going to close my solvent container. And remember, what I do with the paper towel, the rag, is I just put it in a metal container. And it is completely safe in the metal container. So that should be about it for today. Oh, let's see. We have a few more questions here. Hey, DJ Crane, they didn't dislike it. They were watching it upside down. That's funny. Test. Why not paint a red grisaille or a blue one? A red one would be difficult to paint skin tones over. A blue one, a cool one is possible. But this is just a kind of a nice average color to work over. Yep, no problem, Nancy. Hey, Shia. I found a covered plastic container at the 99-cent store that will accommodate my palette. Oh, awesome. That's one way to save paint. So that should be about it for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And again, please do me a huge favor. If you liked what you've seen here, please check out my online classes on Patreon. Again, they are just $10 a month. Also, if you are interested, please check out my Etsy store if you would like to own one of the paintings created during the virtual painting sessions. I see already I'm gonna have to correct one of the eyes, but it's okay. I'll just put this aside, let it dry for Monday. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Yep, no problem, Alex. So again, thanks everyone for watching. I wish you all the absolute very best in all of your artwork, and I will see you on the next one.